Welcome to Storytime with Nanny. And last time we finished up with Story Tree was the name of that book that had several stories in it. This one is that we're going to start is called Aesop's Fables, and it's for young readers. It's another Rebecca book. It says the editor is Laurel Hicks, and it's illustrated by Stan Shimon. And we're going to read a lot of them out of here, maybe not all of them, because we have read maybe by a different author, but it's all been Aesop's Fables. So I've selected some that we haven't read yet out of this book. And we're going to start with The Wolf and the Goat. A wolf went out to look for his dinner. Up on a steep cliff stood a little goat. "I must have that goat," said the wolf, "but how can I reach her?" "Little goat," said the wolf, "I'm afraid that you will fall." "Do not be afraid," said the goat, "I will not fall." "But I am afraid. Please come down here. The grass is sweet and fresh." "I thank you," said the goat, "but I know what you want with me. I will stay where I am. I do not want you to eat me up." Then the goat shook her horns and ran away. The goat ran far away, and the wolf had no dinner. That was a smart goat, wasn't it? That goat knew that the wolf was just trying to trick her so that he could have her for dinner. Makes me think something we've already talked about before, but you can't trust everybody, and to always stay away from strangers. Now, this next one is called The Fox and the Lion. A little fox ran out to play. Just then a lion came along. He made a loud noise. "Oh my," cried the little fox as he ran away to hide. "That noise is so loud, I should die of fright." Another day the fox ran out to play. Again the lion came along. "Oh my," said the little fox, "here is the lion again. I wish he would not make that loud noise, but I need not run away." A third time the little fox ran out to play. A third time the lion came along. "Oh my," said the little fox, "the lion has come again. I will speak to him." "Mr. Lion, why do you roar at me?" The lion was surprised that the fox spoke to him. He was so surprised that he stopped in the middle of his roar. He looked hard at the little fox, and he walked away. He was really trying to be a bully, wasn't he? Just trying to frighten the fox. And when he realized that wasn't working, he didn't have any fun in being mean, did he? The wolf and the crane and that's a type of bird. And that's the name of this next story. One day a wolf was eating his dinner. He ate so fast that a bone stuck in his throat. "Oh, good friend," he gasped to the crane, "please help me. There is a bone in my throat. With your long bill you can get it out. I will pay you for helping me." "I will try," said the good crane. So she put her bill down the wolf's throat and pulled out the bone. "I could have died," said the wolf as he started to feel better. "If you will pay me now, I will go," said the crane. "Pay you? Pay you," snapped the wolf. "Just be glad that I did not bite off your head." Then the wolf trotted off into the wood, thinking that he had played a very smart trick upon the crane. Well, he did tell her he would pay her, but he didn't, did he? So people don't always tell us the truth, but that doesn't mean we're not supposed to always tell the truth. This next one is called The Fox and the Goat. A sly fox fell into a well, and he could not get out. "What are you doing down there?" asked a goat who was passing by. "Oh, such good water," cried the fox, "the best water I've ever tasted. Come and have a sip of it." So down jumped the silly goat. "This is good water," said he. "I was very thirsty." "Drink all you want," said the fox. And as he said this, he leaped upon the goat's back, and then to his horns, and then up upon the curb of the well, and out upon the ground. "Good day, Mr. Goat," said he. "I hope you will get all the water you want." And away he went, leaving the goat to find his way out as best he could. Well, he tricked the goat, didn't he, to help him, and he used the goat to get out of the well. Now the goat's stuck. He wasn't a very nice fox, was he? This one's called The Dog and the Wolf. One warm day, a dog lay down under a tree and was soon fast asleep. In a little while, a wolf trotted out of the woods and was about to eat him up. "Mr. Wolf," cried the dog, "don't you see how thin I am? I am not fit for you to eat now. Why don't you wait a few days? Then you will find that I will make a better meal. My master is going to have a big dinner next week. Then there will be so much to eat that I shall grow fat." "Well, if that is true," said the wolf, "I think I will wait a little while. You may go now, and I will eat you after that dinner." In 2 weeks the wolf came back, but the dog was not under the tree. He was asleep on the housetop. "Come down and let me see how fat you are," said the wolf. The dog awoke and said, "Mr. Wolf, if ever again you see me asleep in the field, you may eat me." Now that was a smart dog, wasn't it? He talked the wolf out of hurting him and having him for dinner. And then when he came back to see if he'd gotten fat so he could eat him, he wasn't accessible, was he? He wasn't where he could get to him. He was high up on top of the house, far away from the wolf. He learned his lesson not to be where the wolf can get to him while he's sleeping. This one is called The Battle of the Birds and the Beast. Once the birds and the beast had a battle. The bat was a coward and would not take part on either side. By and by, when the beast seemed about to win the battle, the bat went down and joined them. "Go away," cried they. "You are a bird." "Indeed I am not," screamed the bat. "Do you not see my feet and my ears and my fur?" But soon the battle turned, and the birds seemed to be about to win the battle. Then away went the bat to join the birds. "Go away," cried they. "You are a beast." "Indeed I am not," screamed the bat. "Do you not see my wings?" "You are a coward. You are a coward. We know your tricks." And they drove the bat from the field. And so ashamed was he that never again has he come out in the daylight. He couldn't decide which side he wanted to be on, and nobody wanted him on their side because he wasn't really loyal, was he? He just wanted to be on the team that was winning. This next story is called The Rat and the Elephant. An elephant once passed along the roadside. On his back was a bright red blanket, embroidered with gold and silver. On the blanket sat a king, also dressed in red and gold and silver. All the animals ran out from the forest to see the elephant pass by. "Oh my," they cried, "how big, how handsome, what a bright blanket, what a trunk." "Pooh," squeaked a rat who was nearby, who didn't want to hear about anyone praising anyone but herself. "How foolish you are. He can do nothing but frighten people, even if he is so big, and I can do so much more. Indeed, have I not just as many legs and eyes and ears as he has? Besides, I have soft fur." But as the rat stood boasting, a cat came creeping up. "Indeed, you are much better in every way than the elephant, my dear rat. At any rate, you are much more to my taste." And as she spoke, she reached for the rat, and soon there was no rat at all. "My dear friends," said the cat as she walked away, "you see what comes of boasting and saying bad things about one another." We can usually always find something nice to say to someone or about someone, but she just only wanted to hear good things about herself, didn't she? This one is called The Crow and the Pitcher, as in the water pitcher that you can put water or different milk or juice in. Once Mr. Crow had been out in the sun all day long. He was very hot. "I wish I had a drink," said Mr. Crow. "I have not had a drop of water today." "Look over to the south," said Peter Rabbit. "Do you see that sand pile? Look beside it. You will find a big pitcher over there. It has water in it. Go and drink all you want." "Thank you, Peter Rabbit. You are a good fellow," said Mr. Crow. Off he went to the sand pile. There was the pitcher. "My mouth is so hot and dry," said Mr. Crow. "Now I shall get a good drink." But there was just a little bit of water in the pitcher. Mr. Crow put his bill into the pitcher. That means his little mouth. Mr. Crow put his bill into the pitcher, but he could not reach the water. He tried and tried. "What can I do?" said Mr. Crow. "I must have a drink." He stopped to think. "Maybe I can tip the pitcher over. Then I could get some water out," thought Mr. Crow. He put his feet on the pitcher. He tried to tip it over. He tried again and again, but he could not tip it over. "It is too big," he said. "I cannot do it." Mr. Crow stopped again to think. "Maybe I can put a hole in it," he said. He pecked it with his bill. He hit it with his wing. He struck it with his feet. "No," he said, "I cannot do that. I cannot tip the pitcher over and I cannot put a hole in it." He stopped again to think. Then he looked at the sand pile. "Now I know what to do," said Mr. Crow. "I know just what to do." He picked up a stone with his bill. He dropped it into the pitcher. Then water came up a little, so Mr. Crow picked up another stone. He dropped it in. Also, the water came up a little more. So he put in another stone, and still another. The water came up more and more. At last he could reach it with his bill. How glad Mr. Crow was. He had found a way at last. The water was so good, he drank and drank and drank till he could drink no more. So, what is the saying? If at first you don't succeed, try and try again. And that's what he did. He found a way so he could get the water he needed. That was a smart crow, wasn't it? This one is called The Blind Man and the Lame Man. And a blind man is someone that can't see, and a lame man is someone, in this case, he's able to walk but on crutches. He has to have crutches to walk. A blind man was walking along the road with his cane. Soon he came to a ditch in the road. Just then a lame man came hobbling along on a crutch. "Good friend," said the blind man, "will you help me along on this road? I am afraid to go alone." "I help you?" exclaimed the lame man. "How can I? Lame as I am, it is all I can do to get along myself. If I were as strong in the legs as you are, I would ask no favor of anyone." "Indeed I am strong in the legs," answered the blind man, "but I cannot see." "Oh, that makes a different story," answered the lame man. "If you cannot see, it is rather hard for you to get along." "Indeed it is," answered the blind man sadly. "Perhaps we can help each other," said the lame man. "You are strong in the legs, and I am strong in the eyes. If you will carry me on your back, I will see the way for you." "I agree," said the blind man. Then away they went, the lame man on the blind man's back. In this way they traveled very well and reached the end of their trip much more quickly than either could have done alone. They had to help each other out, didn't they, to get to where they're going. And sometimes it's like that for people in different situations. We need to help one another, don't we? This one is called The Bee and the Dove. One day a bee fell into the water. It was a bad fall, for the bee got wet and could not fly out. She could not swim. A dove watched her fall. "Oh dear," she said, "I must help that bee." She took a leaf in her beak and she dropped it into the water near the bee. The bee climbed up onto the leaf and floated to land. One day, this dove was making a nest. She was flying here and there, getting leaves and hay. A bad boy looked up at the dove. He picked up a stone to throw at the dove. As he held the stone, the bee saw him and stung him on the hand. He jumped and dropped the stone, and so he did not hit the dove. The dove had helped the bee. Now the bee helped the dove. The dove was kind to the bee, and then the bee came to the dove's rescue too when the dove needed it. This one is called The Wolf and the Dog. Once a wolf met a dog. The dog was fat. He looked as if he had plenty to eat. The wolf was thin. He looked as if he had nothing to eat. "You are a lucky dog," said the wolf. "You have plenty to eat. I am half starved." "Come with me," said the dog. "You shall have what you like to eat." As they went along, the dog said, "At night I watch the house, and all day I eat or sleep in the yard." "What is that mark on your neck?" asked the wolf. "Oh, that is where the chain wears the hair off," said the dog. "Chain?" said the wolf. "Do you wear a chain?" "Oh, yes," said the dog. "My master chains me to my kennel all day, but at night I am free to go where I wish." "Goodbye," said the wolf. "I will not go with you. I may be hungry, but I am free." So the dog had to work for his meal, but the wolf decided it wasn't worth it for him. He'd rather be free than have to wear a chain. This next story is The Goose That Laid the Golden Eggs. It's a little sad, go ahead and tell you that, but there is a good lesson in it. Once upon a time, there was an old lady who had a number of hens, ducks, and geese. She used to send her little girl to the pond every day to take care of the ducks and geese. But she had one goose that she kept away from the others. This one had a little house and yard of its own. Why do you think she was so good to this goose? Each day this goose laid a big golden egg. One day the lady sold an egg to pay for a red tablecloth. The next day she got some white earmuffs. Then she got a golden cooking pot and a yellow whisk broom for her kitchen. The old lady could hardly wait for each new day to come. She wanted that golden egg so much. At last she said to herself, "I will kill my goose and get all the gold at once." But when she killed the goose, do you know what she found? Nothing. It was just like all the other geese. She had lost her goose that laid the golden eggs. The old lady wanted to get rich, but she had become poor. So she was just being greedy, and it's a little sad, isn't it? That greed caused her to kill her goose. And then she didn't profit anything, did she? Because there was no gold hiding there. This is called The Proud Turtle. A turtle lived in a brook. All day long he sat on a log. He saw the ducks line up in the sky. He wanted something new to do. He wished he could fly too. Soon some of the ducks came and swam in the brook near the log on which the turtle sat. "Good ducks, teach me to fly," said he. "No, we cannot teach you to fly," said the ducks. "You have no wings. You must stay in the brook." "Yes, you can teach me to fly," said the turtle. "Let two ducks take this stick in their bills. I will hold fast to the middle of it, and you can carry me between you." So the ducks took the stick in their bills, and the turtle held fast with his mouth. "Do not open your mouth," said the ducks. "If you do, you will fall to the ground." "I will not open my mouth," said the turtle. Away flew the ducks high up into the air. They carried the turtle with them. As they went over a town, some men looked up at the ducks and the turtle. One of them said, "Who was so wise to think of that?" This made the turtle feel proud. "I was," he said. But then he opened his mouth to say it, and he fell to the ground. And that was the end of the proud turtle. He should have just kept his mouth shut. And sometimes that's just, instead of bragging on himself, and then he wouldn't have fallen, would he? This is called The Cat and the Fox. One day, when the fox was taking a walk in the forest, he met a cat. "Do you know any tricks, Mrs. Cat?" said the fox. "Oh yes, I know one or two." "One or two? Well, that is not many, I must say," said the fox. "You are right, Mr. Fox, but the tricks I know are very good ones," said the cat. "How many do you know?" "I know 1,000 tricks. I know 100 tricks to play on dogs." "What would you do if the dog came right now?" asked the fox. "I would know just one thing to do." "Poor Mrs. Cat," said the fox, "I am sorry for you. Let me teach you a few of my tricks." "Listen, Mr. Fox," said the cat. "I hear dogs barking. There they come. I will try my one trick now." As fast as he could, the cat ran up a tree. The dogs barked at her, but they could not reach her. "Now I will see the fox play some of his tricks," said Mrs. Cat. The fox knew many tricks, but he could not get away from the dogs. They chased him and bit him. The cat watched from the tree. "One good plan is better than 100 tricks," she said. And I didn't even actually mean to read that one because we've read that one before. So that's okay though. This one is called The Fly and the Horse. "A fly sat on the wheel of a horse cart. Indeed," cried he, as the strong horses ran along the road. "What a dust I do raise as I go around and around on this big wheel. The dust gets in my eyes too. I will go sit for a while on the horse's harness." So away flew the proud little fly. After a time he said to the horse, "Now I will fly away. I know I must burden you by resting so long upon your head." "As you please," snorted the horse. "I did not know you were there until you spoke." "You did not know I was here?" cried the fly, opening all his eyes in surprise. "Little people who think they are so important are often mistaken," answered the old war horse. The little fly's pride was sadly hurt. He went away by himself to think about it all day long, and all the next day, and all the next day after that. And the horse, well, he galloped into battle and soon forgot that a little fly had ever spoken to him. And the little fly just thought a lot of himself is what that's meaning. And the horse wasn't even thinking about him and didn't even realize he was there. I guess the moral of that story is let's not think too highly of ourselves. The Cat and the Birds is the name of this next one. A sly old cat had been told that the birds in the birdhouse were ill. "I will put on some glasses and an overcoat and visit them," said the cat to himself. "Perhaps they will think I am the doctor. Then if they open their door to me, I will eat them up." So he crept up to the birdhouse. "I hear you are ill," said he, "so I have come to bring you some medicine." "Thank you," said the birds, "but we know who you are. We are much more likely to get well without your medicine than with it." Oh, smart birds. They knew that even though he disguised himself, the cat was there to eat him. So they didn't let the cat in. So they were smart birds. We don't open the door to strangers. If we don't know them, then we don't need to open the door to them. Now this is The Fox and the Grapes. It was a very warm day. "I am so hungry and so thirsty," said the fox as he came along the dusty road. "Oh, there are some fine grapes. What luck! I will have those grapes." So he gave one big leap up to the vines, but he could not quite reach them. Again he jumped, and again, but each time he fell back more and more out of breath. Then he sat and looked at them. "Sour old things," he growled. "I would not eat one of them. They are not good for a fox. I will leave them for the greedy birds. Birds will eat anything." Then he went away, and the grapes rubbed their soft cheeks together and laughed softly at the silly old fox. So he just didn't want to find another way of doing it, and the way he kept trying over and over wasn't working, was it? But he didn't want to take the time to find or figure out another way, so he just said he didn't want it, when in fact he really did. This next one is called The Raven and the Swan. "I know why the swan is so white," said the jet-black raven. "He swims in the water all the time. I will go and swim in the water. Then I shall be as white as he." So the raven flew up and down the land until he found a lake of clear, cool water. "Here I will make my home," said the raven, "and every day I will swim in the water." So the raven made his home by the lake, and every day he swam in the water. But he got a bad cold from being so much in the water, and he nearly lost his voice. "Croak, croak," said he, "I shall go back to the ravens. My feathers are much better looking than any swan's feathers. I would not trade their color for all the world. Croak, croak," and away he flew. So the raven thought he wanted white feathers like the swan, but found out he was pretty the way he was, and he didn't need to be anything but himself. And it wasn't working out for him trying to make himself something he wasn't. So we're to be ourselves. This one is called The Fox and the Crow. A crow stole a piece of cheese and flew up into the tree with it. As she sat there on the branch, a fox came running along. "Oh, that cheese," said he. "Oh, how good it smells. How I would like it." He came close up under the tree and said, "Dear Mrs. Crow, how beautiful you are. I did not know you were so beautiful. How bright your eyes are, and how feathers shine in the sunlight." The silly old crow was flattered and began to rub her feathers. "I suppose you can sing," continued the fox. "I know you can. You must have the sweetest voice in all the forest. Please sing one note for me." "Caw, caw," cried the crow. "Ha, ha," laughed the fox, as that cheese dropped from her bill. Remember, that's the bird's mouth. "Your voice is very good, and so is the cheese." So the fox was just flattering and tricking the crow into opening her mouth so he could get that piece of cheese out. And he did, didn't he? And then the crow that had gotten the cheese to start with, she didn't get to eat her cheese. She lost it because she was listening to flattery. She should have been wise, and she shouldn't have trusted the fox. This is the rooster and the piece of gold. "Come along," said the rooster to the hens one morning. "I am very hungry, and so are you. Let us go to breakfast." "Cluck, cluck, where shall we go?" said the hens. "Over in the garden are some fat worms and bugs." So away they all ran to get the worms. "Cluck, cluck," cried the old mother hen. "See what I found." "Cluck, cluck, cluck, cluck," cried the other hens, running to see. "Cock-a-doodle-doo," called the old rooster as he went to look. "Cluck, cluck, how it shines," said the mother hen. "It is a piece of gold, a piece of gold," cried the other hens. "So it is," said the rooster, "but it is of no use to us. I'd rather find a fat worm when I'm hungry than a whole bag of gold." I guess he decided he couldn't go right into town and buy grain and food for that gold, because roosters don't know how to drive, and roosters can't fly, so that piece of gold wasn't doing them any good, was it? This next story is called The Ants and the Lazy Grasshoppers. In a field lived the ants and the grasshoppers. The ants were busy little people. They worked all summer getting grain for the winter. "We shall need it to eat," said the wise ants. "I'd rather hop in the sun," said a grasshopper, "but there will be snow in the winter. Then we can get no food," answered the ants. "But the sun is so nice and warm," chirped the grasshopper. By and by winter came. Oh, how cold it was! The grasshoppers' legs were stiff with cold, and they were so hungry. "Please give us some grain, dear ants," begged the grasshoppers. "We do not have any extra," answered the ants. "But we have none at all," cried the grasshoppers. "What were you doing all summer?" asked the ants. "Why did you not store away some grain then?" "Oh, we could not. We danced and hopped and sang all summer long." "Then why not dance and hop and sing all winter too?" answered the ants. "How greedy ants are," chirped the lazy grasshoppers. How lazy grasshoppers are, thought the busy ants. And the ants didn't have enough to share, but instead of working hard and in the summer and gathering food for winter like the ants did, they just wanted to play. But then come winter, they didn't feel like playing because they didn't have any energy, did they? They didn't have any food. So that goes back to a saying we've talked about before. You work before pleasure, you get your work done, and then you can have fun. Well, thank you for joining Storytime with Nanny, and I hope to see you next time. You have a great, blessed day.